Now, there will be just one performance of Peter and the Wolf at the Holland Center. It's taken over a year to get ready.
Wow, the story like you've never seen it before, sort of reimagined. So a familiar cast, but new staging, elaborate set pieces, all designed for this program.
And with us today, Omaha Symphony Principal Pops conductor Ernest Richardson, and from Ballet, Nebraska, director and choreographer Erika Overturff.
Hi.
Good to see both of you. It's not very often we get both of you on the set together at the same time, so this is good.
Neat.
It's fantastic.
The story of Peter and the Wolf. Who wants to dive into that a little bit and tell us about it?
Well, Peter and the Wolf is probably the most famous and perhaps the best introduction to the sound of the orchestra. But the story itself is going to be brought to life by dancing, which I love.
Erika, we've been looking at pictures of the costumes and then the dancers in motion and the set pieces. What was it like to collaborate with these fine musicians with the symphony?
We're absolutely thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Bringing dance and music together on the stage is going to be a lot of fun, and it actually involves pretty much our whole company, so it's going to be a big production.
What are the challenges of putting something like this together?
I think part of it is to kind of reimagine the story, reimagine how we're going to present it. We've done Peter and the Wolf every 2 or 3 years over the course of the past several years. When we add dancers to it, that really brings it to a kind of physical life. But then these wonderful sets that we've built, we really want to try to create a world in which the scope of what's going on from a young child's perspective can be perceived in the process of the production.
Like the trees. They're the size of real trees, Ernest.
Yes.
I mean, how cool is that for these kids to be sitting in the audience and look up and see that? And then, Erika, we were looking at the pictures of the costumes, too. And that's one of the things we always drive home is the detail in your costumes. I'm sure you're bringing that attention to this production as well.
Yeah, it's been fun. It is a popular production, but like Ernest said, to just reimagine it and kind of start from scratch and thinking, okay, what do we want to do this time to make it really special?
How's this set up in terms of the musicians and the dancers? Or do they interact? Are the musicians in the orchestra pit, or how does this all come together?
We create a world that involves the players. You can almost imagine the players as being part of the forest, part of the motivators of the story, so they'll be there. The dancers will be in and amongst them. And then we have these wonderful set pieces that will give kind of a balance to the space.
And then before the concert, Ernest, we always ask, because when you're doing things designed for kids, you want them to have a whole experience, not just to come, sit down, sit still for a couple of hours and then go home and talk about it.
Right.
You want them to have this whole, like, make all kinds of memories while they're there, including pre-concert. So what do you have lined up then?
Well, you're absolutely right about that. We think of it as a family experience, not just a kids concert. And so we want the kids to have an opportunity to really be engaged in the whole process. So there'll be arts and crafts that are along the lines of the story of Peter and the Wolf before the concert. It's sort of a whole arc of an experience. And we don't expect the kids to be just quiet like little adults watching the show. We expect them to be engaged in what's going on.
Reacting, right?
We want that to happen, actually. And so we're looking forward to that. And I think there's nothing more beautiful than the human form in dance. I just think it's one of the most beautiful, compelling images that mankind has come up with, and we're so excited to work with
When
the
it's
dancers.
done well, it can take your breath away,
Oh my
right?
goodness. It's athletic, it's beautiful, it's something that I think that just brings the story to life.
Yeah, it was funny. When we said in the lead, it took about a year for this. It culminated over the course of a year. What took it so long, to be honest with you, and how much work went into that?
Well, when you think about what we're trying to do with this show, what we're saying is to our choreographer, okay, so Peter and the Wolf, we kind of know the story. What can we do to bring dance into it, to bring a theatrical component to it, such that the story is new and fresh? And then it's up to you to really think about how that's going to work from a choreographic standpoint.
Yeah, one of the creative things I think we did, because we are on stage with the symphony.
What's this move? What is that move right there while we're looking at that?
Those are some ducklings right
Those are
there that you
ducks? I
saw,
don't know if they're
yes.
penguins or ducks.
Yeah, those are some ducklings, and that's a grandfather right there. We have our kind of living scenery, so to speak. The dancers are dancing, but they're going to represent the water in the pond and the trees in the forest and move and interact through the orchestra members. So that we can create really kind of a rich scenic environment with the dancers and the props and set
I think the
pieces.
last time you were here, it might have been for Momentum, possibly.
Yes.
And then, you know, of course, people think about Nutcracker and some of the Cleopatra, some of these things. How is this unique as you're taking a different approach for a production like this compared to some of those other classics or even the new stuff that you try to bring to Omaha?
Well, we are, you know, staging it specifically to work on stage with the musicians. So just the logistics of that are different. And to make the story fresh, you know, it has its own unique story.
Yeah.
So to just delve into that and see where it takes us. The music is really always my biggest inspiration in choreographing. So that's really the driving force behind the whole thing.
Well, listen, good people of Omaha, this is one of those performances that doesn't come around, you know, every month. So you want to take advantage of it. It's Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Holland Center. Tickets are $12. You can go to omahasymphony.org for more information and tickets.
Part of the family series. So good, Ernest. Thank you. And Erika, it's good to see you. Have a great Sunday.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Have a
Thank
good one.
you. Tomorrow